Boom, boom. So we're gonna actually go at the beginning of the week. I had dropped a markup. I was talking about what I was like looking for, like from GA. So we're just gonna go all the way to the beginning of the week here, um, and see the little markup that I had dropped. Boom, boom. So, no. Yeah, right here. I was like, GA looks very interesting going in this week of training. So, oh my gosh, what are we doing here? Why is it popping up with the hat there? Technology when it doesn't work right. There we go. Cool. So I had this markup here, and basically I had a fib drawn out, and this is daily structure. So it was at that 61.8 on the daily when the week started. So this was just really clean. GA just really like worked out magic. Had a trend line here. It was respecting it multiple times. And when we actually went into the chart, let's see how that actually played out. So I actually caught some pips on this week. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get this out of here real quick. Cool. So as you can see, the week started. Let's go ahead and break this down from where the week started. Catch that area where that gap was. Boom, 30 minute. All right, so market open was right here. So let's go ahead and do a replay. Cool. So this is where the market was during that time period. This is what we were looking at. You know, on the so my replay totally just died. Cool. Fantastic. Cool. All right, let's let it play for a second. Great. This is where the market was. This is where like kind of the week started, right here. So this is what bias that I had for the market during this time period. I was on this daily structure. Like I said, I saw this trend line. It was really making like a nice structure. We had our lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We had a lower high, but we still had a higher low form. So really like just looking for entries, looking for like moves to be made on the market in this area, in this zone. I went ahead and entered. Like when the market opened, I was like looking for entries. Like I might have entered a little prematurely, but I had a lot of I felt like I had a lot of confluence in what I was looking for. So I entered pretty much on this 30-minute engulfing, and I saw it off of that trend line, entered, had a pretty tight stop loss, ended up staying in the move. I got out up here at this area, so I didn't catch the whole move, but still caught some nice pips. But the market totally played out. It reached that fib extension perfectly. We're gonna go in and like actually look at that real quick. So we have our fibs from our low to our high. So you see that totally just like right here. There we go from the boom. So boom, 61.8 straight up to the negative 27. I mean, just like clockwork, like just went straight to it. I mean, it did have this major pullback here where, I mean, you could have even found entries on the 4-hour. That was like a 61.8 on the fib. So GA was nice. GA played out really well. A lot of people, I'm sure, made decent money on this move if you were in it. Yeah, this 4-hour was really nice right here. So like if you actually draw your fib from this 4-hour, I believe this was it. Yeah, see it touched that 61.8 beautifully right there, just tapped it and then just shot right up to the negative 61.8. So I mean, just knowing where structure was in this, there was a lot of opportunity to make money. Because even though in the daily, we were kind of like, like some people might have saw this like down downward momentum. They might have been looking at the MAs, whatever. Um, we ended up having this perfect respect of this trend line, as well as a valid higher low form, and then from there, I mean, just straight up. Um, right now, it's just kind of seeing like if we're gonna pass this higher high point, make like a new high point. It made some rejection here, so I'd like to see it pull back some more before I look to get in any type of entry on this uptrend bias still. But I mean, if you follow like moving averages, it's respecting the moving averages really well. It's resting on them as support. So still very, 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 very bullish as far as this trend is concerned. But yeah, it was a very, very clean transition in the market. That's what I was really looking for this week in the market. Pretty much the only thing I entered other than EU. I tried to find some moves on GJ last night. It just kind of played with me too much. So I ended up getting out. I had an entry here, but I just didn't feel too confident in it. So I went ahead and I was going to wait for a better entry. So we didn't really see too much from that. It kind of played with everybody's emotions because at first we had this form right here. We had like this bearish variation. And from there, a lot of people were looking at this pullback for entries. Myself, that happened. We ended up coming down a little bit and then shooting up and then pulling back and then shooting up. So, I mean, you're talking like some people that's like 45, 50 pips. That was stop losses being smashed left and right up here just because everybody was probably loading up on entries because of this like double top. And then, you had your bearish variations. Just goes to show you sometimes in the market, there's things that seem one way but are another. So for some people, this might have been a double top. For other people, they were seen as a bullish flag pattern. Everybody's seeing something different in the market. So it's always good to understand that you never know 100% what's going to happen. Let's see here. Let's see if there's anything popping in the chat right now. Like I said, guys, this is very open to y'all. Like, this is just an open session. Nothing super structured as far as training. This is just kind of like market overview, kind of just seeing, some stuff like y'all had in the market, some stuff y'all entered, possibly getting some better bias. I'm trying to find the chat box right now. I feel like it disappeared on me. There we go. Awesome. So anybody have anything to talk about? Anybody have anything to say? Yeah, like what KJ said, master one pair, like having one girl versus a bunch of crazy personalities to deal with. Find a pair you vibe with. It only takes one pair to make money. Some people, they strictly trade one pair, and they're some of the most successful traders I know. You'll see people like just like flip-flopping in like all these different trades. Yeah, for sure. So it's glad you're a part of the group, man. We're gonna all be working together. That's what this group's about. Just everyone I'm sure has been introduced to Forex one way or another. Whether that was a paid course you took, whether that was joining like a company, network marketing company or something like that, and you may have had one idea about Forex when you first joined. I know a lot of people, they come into the markets thinking it's going to be super easy. Um, that's not the case. It's never. I never was one to sell it as easy. Even when I was a part of a network marketing company that dealt with Forex education, I would still never say it was easy. I would always let people know that it is a marathon, not a sprint. Is there a specific time? Okay. Let's see. Is there a specific time frame to hold a trade? Like better to hold a whole day or more or a few hours? Well, so it depends on your bias for your trade. So like for me, I was on the daily chart making my analysis off the daily for GA. So my analysis was on the daily. So I should, understand that I have a lot of candles to go before it could hit my target, which it was a lot of candles. you know, a lot of psychological things happening, right? So even though I had beautiful entry, I caught all this move up here. I closed out profit here, which isn't a loss at all. Like I made great money on this trade. I was very happy with the profit, like 200 pips. You know, that's good for me. I was extremely happy with it. Definitely left money on the table, but that's one of the four fears. Like you can't have that fear because I easily could have held this entry thinking that it's going to go up to this level, and then it could just have came all the way down and just like stopped me out and then came up to that level. So it's like, man, when you're up, when the market's giving you things like giving you a lot of pips, there's nothing wrong in taking profit. You can never go broke taking profit. Don't ever let anyone say, "Oh, you didn't catch the whole move." You didn't even know the whole move existed. The whole move wasn't even there. The whole move wasn't promised. None of this was promised. These fib levels, these lines, all this is speculative. The market, the people that make the moves in this market do not care that you have a trend line. They don't care. They don't care that that it's respecting this trend line for you. For them, they could literally have something like this. Like they could. Let me bring up a fresh GA chart. I want to show you something. Cool. So for them, you may have had all that, like I had all that markup, right? And literally for the people that are making the big moves in the market, they may just have this here. They just might have a zone marked up. And when they see it in that zone, they do the same thing every single time. They don't care what market conditions, they don't care what news. They see it in that zone, they do the same thing. Like that's just, you don't know. You don't know what the money's doing. You never know. So that's something to always know about technical analysts, or any type of technical markup on a chart. It's all speculative. Everything's purely speculative. As far as holding trades, man, it's all going to be up to you and your bias. Because like I was saying, I had a daily time frame bias, so I was holding versus the daily. But it's always good to be looking at structure on the lower time frames, because structure on the lower time frames can mean a lot. So we have this area here. Boom, boom, boom. Right. So this is the area where I was actually taking profit at. Now, there's multiple reasons I was taking profit at this area. I was seeing a lot of rejection, right? Rejection, rejection, rejection. I was just like, that's a lot of heavy rejection. So, and that level lines up here with previous structure. So even though my analysis was on the daily, I'm going down to the 1 hour and I'm looking for reasons, that I should potentially get out of this trade because of previous structure. All this structure here, all this like resistance, that's something to take into account. So just because you're holding a trade on the daily, just understand you could be right, but can you handle the psychology of holding that trade multiple days? Because yeah, you could have held this trade all through this, but would you really have wanted to hold something where you were up at one point 200 pips and then you were only up like 40 pips? Like your psychology would just be like totally shot. Because I mean, think about that. If you're on like a 0.4, that's $800 down to like $160. Like, like that's a lot of money that you just like missed out on. And you might get out of the market there thinking, oh my God, I don't want to like miss, I want to take out something. And then look what the market does. It just slaps you in the face and then goes where it wants to go. So this was totally a 360 pip move. I called this pretty well, but I didn't hold it. I got out here, but at the end of the day, 200 pips, I was happy with, like I said. But yeah, I had the bias on this. I was happy to see my like markup be complete. It definitely made me happy to see this level complete right here. I was really excited to see just being right. Sometimes I don't even care if I get stopped out on a trade when my analysis was correct. All that means is I didn't have the proper stop loss based on structure, or my psychology wasn't right for the trade. But it's always dope to see your analysis be right.
Wait a second. Oh man, another one of these.
Yo, what? So yeah, I don't I don't know what's going on. So anybody want to like I said, anybody want help on anything? I don't mind going over anything while I'm here. This is definitely the time, guys. Take advantage. This is a live call, so you have the chance to get information from me on a live setting. So, what are you feeling? EU XDXY. Cool. So let's check out EU. So a cool thing about currency, right, is obviously it's a pair of currency. So if you're trading Euro USD, it's Euro versus US dollar. Well, you can actually look up just the US dollar by itself, and you can see what the US dollar is doing, and that can help you with your bias on, Euro USD. Some people will say correlation doesn't actually matter. Some people will say that it's totally matters. Everyone has a different outlook when it comes to something like this. Um, for me, as I've grown as a trader, I start to see like that definitely the DXY plays a huge role in things. I mean, how can it not? It's literally the US dollar. So if we're looking at this, sometimes you just get out your chart and honestly you just start kind of marking stuff up. Like sometimes I just literally mark stuff up to see what I'm looking at. I have right here, I have this resistance here, another previous resistance happening right here. This is a weekly resistance. So interesting. I mean, it's just kind of a level kind of that's interesting to look at. Of course, we do have our higher points here, our support here, support here, support here. But overall, weekly right now, MAs are red over blue. So, you know, potentially, potentially, we could see a downtrend happening in the DXY long term. We did have the cross here. I'll go into like moving averages and stuff like that on another session for sure. They can be a powerful tool. It's good to have them, especially on like higher time frames. It kind of like tells you a bigger story. Um, so the daily is still blue over red, still bullish, but the MAs are getting closer and closer together. So you could definitely see potentially this trend downwards. Like we could see the dollar lose strength. So that's something to think about in the future of trades, especially with news and things like that coming up. We do have red over blue, but blue over red, we have an MA cross here on the 4 hour. So the 4 hour is showing like that bullish momentum. So even though overall we're seeing potentially down movement on the DXY on the higher time frames, there's a lot of move to the upside that can happen before that plays out. So let's see here. You can also click compare here. So you have your DXY, and you can actually type in your Euro USD chart, and we'll go to Awanda. Cool. So it's kind of cool to see this, right? So we have Euro USD right here, and we have our DXY right here. See how they kind of inverse each other? You see how when the dollar is strong, the Euro USD is going down, right? So you see that going up, going down. So it's kind of cool to see like this inverse. This is something that you can do to, just really really kind of just double check yourself. It's kind of fun to like just see this inverse of currencies. So it can get messy though. It can get messy on your charts, but it's a cool thing to check because it's definitely going to show you like overall, that trend. Let's look at euro. Let's look at what we were talking about euro last night. Let's talk about what we were looking at. Called a trade last night. Uh, depending on where you entered, you're probably still in this trade. I don't believe anybody got stopped out. You had plenty of room, so you should still be in the buy if you are. There's plenty of opportunity to take profit at this little level here. Something about Euro USD that's really poking out to me that's kind of interesting is the weekly. And this is just kind of like bothering me a little bit because we had this like break of the support here area and we had a test. And then ever since then, this area has just like been respected overall. So I don't know how much we're going to see of euro as far as a bullish momentum or anything like that. I mean, we could see a potential little push up just here based on the weekly, which I mean is still a lot of pips, but I think we could see new lows from euro, but this is a big range where it could retest. So we have all this room for it to retest up to this area one last time. So that's 180 pips. So that's on the weekly. Daily, we are seeing a lot of exhaustion here, which, is at that level. So could potentially either see, test one more time at this level, or we potentially see it drop to a new low. It's just really, 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 really exhausted right there. So for that to happen, right, if we're expecting Euro USD to drop, DXY would be getting stronger. So, that kind of really works out because DXY still has some strength in it. This daily moving averages and things like that. So we're seeing some momentum still. So it very much so could happen on Euro USD. So what's up, guys? Anything particular like y'all would like me to go over? Like, feel free to like just come on, give some communication in here. No question is a dumb question. If nobody has any questions, I'll probably just not start up another session. But if y'all want to have some questions and things like that, then I'll start up another session with y'all because this is about to end in about 7 minutes. Cool. All right. I mean, I guess no one has any more questions. Feel free, if anything comes up you're having trouble on, feel free to come into the Telegram with any of your questions. But other than that, I hope everybody has a good night. We will be back on charts this weekend. We'll be looking for Sunday night. I don't know what session. Should be good today, but for sure going to try out the Euro USD charts tonight and tomorrow. For sure. Go back. look it back, like go back and like try to understand what was happening. Like come over here and like see how you could have took advantage of this move. See how you could have took advantage of this move. See what happened in the market based on structure and things like that. Remember structure? If you haven't, watch the structure training that we uploaded to the channel. Go on YouTube to our uptrend thing and watch all of the videos, especially market structure, because you really can't do nothing in these markets without market structure. Okay, so we'll everybody will link if anybody has any questions or wants to hop on a session throughout the weekend. Let me know. I'll squeeze y'all in or something. But good night, guys.